Paul and Silas are taken into prison, and before this they are arrested and they are beaten up, and after they have been beaten up, they are thrown into prison. And when they are thrown into prison, instruction is issued that they have to be under maximum security. So the jailer takes them not just in prison, but into the inner chamber. And as if that's not enough, he puts chains on their feet to tie them to the ground so that they cannot by any means escape prison, because they were high-value subjects in that prison. They were high-value prisoners in that prison. So Paul and Silas are chained down to the ground to ensure they can't move and they cannot escape. At midnight, while people were sleeping, Paul and Silas, in verse number 25, started singing, praising God, worshiping God. When they were worshiping God, when they were praising God, at that very hour, there was a shaking of the foundation of the prison. And when the prison's foundations were shaken, something happened, that the chains that were holding them to the ground broke off. Now, there's an interesting part here. The Bible says, and the prisoners heard them. Their fellow prisoners heard them praising God. Their fellow prisoners heard them worshiping God. But there is an interesting part. The jailer did not hear them. The prisoners heard them, but the jailer never heard them. The foundations were shaken. The jailer never heard the foundations shaking. The chains were broken. The jailer never heard the chains breaking. The doors were swung open. The jailer never heard the doors being opened. Yet, the other prisoners heard them. And there's something interesting here, dear friends, that when the jailer woke up and saw the doors open, and the jailer looked at the prison, he took a sword to kill himself. But Paul shouted unto him and said, don't harm yourself. We are all here. And when he saw that all the prisoners were still there, he asked a question, what should I do to be saved? And Paul answers and says, you only need to believe and you'll be saved. And he realizes that is not for him alone. He brings them to his house, and his whole household is saved on that day. Dear friends, some of you could be in prison because somebody, I'm not ignorant to the fact that there's witchcraft. Yes, there's witchcraft happening out there. And maybe you didn't believe enough and that witchcraft has affected you. I want to say to you, if you come to this worship and healing encounter, it will not just be for you, because the freedom in that prison was not just for Paul, but even the family and the jailer's family and himself, they also received freedom on that day. Why? Because Paul and Silas worshipped God in that hour. So come, as we worship God, we shall be healed. See you there. Don't you miss.